Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Here I am. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you. Man, this has been an absolutely crazy last week, I think, for me, but really last 2 days. Ended up was working all day Friday, and then went over to my brother's house Friday night, ended up staying at his house that night, and then was at the winery all day yesterday. So I just finally got back in. And I'm also feeling a bit under the weather. So if my voice sounds rather gravelly and stuff here, well, it's because I've been congested over the last few days. I need to calm down, take some time to relax, see if I can't recover here. So at any rate, welcome to the office, welcome to my home, welcome to the office, and welcome to the morning grind. So we said the other day that what we were going to do was work on some pre-generated characters, because we are getting that close to finishing up the draft here, the beta release of the Cultists RPG. And you can hear it in my voice that I'm not that I've got all this congestion. Yes. Yeah, I thought that would be the case. So we're not operating on all thrusters here, but sorry, we're still going. Good morning, Bacon. Good morning. And of course, we got PH here. So in the Physics Museum this morning. That's pretty cool. The great old ones are here. Welcome, welcome. And Mike is here. And last night, not only that, but not only was I not at my house on Friday night, did work, and then was at my brother's house until late, got up, then did the winery. But then at the winery yesterday, after work, we actually had a showing of the Cultists. We did a watch party for the Cultists, got pizza, had drinks, and I watched all of season 1 and season 2 from all the way through, back to back, for the first time in a long time. So it gave me a lot of different ideas here. And I was, as I was watching it, I was appreciating the amount of the increase in capability and skill that occurred and would occur again throughout season 1 and season 2, and what would happen with season 3. Had some ideas about that because we were talking about, well, gee, should that be a film script? I have also been, let me show you this, give you a little bit of behind the scenes information. So I have been very happy with the way the Cultists YouTube channel has been going. So here's a look at the analytics here for the Cultist YouTube channel. This says that in the last 28 days, because we've been relaunching the Cultists. This has been all about relaunching the Cultists. There are a lot of projects to do, but I don't think I got it right when I first launched it a while back ago, a few years ago now, season 1. So basically, I've been going all the way back to my first projects and starting over and getting the launch right. And I've been pretty happy with the way this launch has been going with the Cultists, because it says the Cultists dedicated YouTube channel now, which has been completely rebranded. You know, it was branded dedicated to the Cultist. And Brianna did a lot of work on the graphics. 12,054 views in the last 28 days, 111 watch hours, 427 subscribers. An increase of 427 subscribers in the last 28 days. So I think that's great. I think that the Cultist show is getting out there, and I think it deserves it. I think it deserves it. So I'm glad I gave it this new shot. I'm glad I went back and rebranded. It was a lot of work, but I think it was worth it. So I appreciate everybody who is watching. So I'm hoping that will continue to grow. Thank you, Bacon and Mike. So lots of stuff to do, but I think this was worth doing. Let's see. Tonight, what else is going on? So tonight, I'm going to be watching House of the Dragon. I haven't put together the thumbnail for that yet, but tonight is House of the Dragon. I am definitely going to watch that. Fortunately, I don't have to be anywhere today, so I'm just going to be here at the house, taking care of myself, doing some cleaning, writing here. Going to try to work on this RPG. I got very nearly done with the beat sheets the other day, very nearly done. So I may be able to finish them this afternoon, but I'm definitely going to stop and I'm going to watch House of the Dragon tonight. And then I'm planning, assuming I'm not like completely unable to speak or something like that, I'm planning on being live after House of the Dragon for another kind of live reaction like we did last time. I might see who else I can invite for anyone who would like to do that. Now on Tuesday on Table Talk, that would be on the Table Talk channel. I'd go live on the Table Talk channel. On Tuesday night on Table Talk, we will be watching a short film. What is it called? I can't remember the name of it at the moment. But Brennan Martinoni, who is the director of photography for the Cultists, shot a short film, a short horror film, and was touring it in different film festivals. And we're going to watch it. It involves some of the other actors of the Cultists who are in this. So he's going to be on the stream. Doug is going to be on the stream. Brianna's going to be on the stream. I believe Rachel may be on the stream as well. I believe I reached out to her. So other actors or actresses who are in it. So we will watch this new short film. So you can also see the increase in capabilities since then. So I believe this is his latest short film, a short horror film. And we will watch that Tuesday night and react. So that's what's going on. So lots of stuff going on the Table Talk channel over there as well. Let me put the link to the Discord server. So if you are here, you'll be able to get to all of those. And you'll see a channel for all the Discord server channel for all the different channels. Ravenkeep Discord server. Also, I guess one other thing that's going on. Oh, thank you very much. Glad to have you here. Also coming up soon. Oh, make a cube dispenser to play Dungeon Quest. Or the Hero Quest. Yeah, there was a link in the Discord server about somebody who basically made a Hero Quest combat computer, an analog one. Kind of fun. Oh, the other thing that I've got to think about that's coming up is that Rune Jammer is coming up. Hero Quest, yeah. Rune Jammer is coming up. That's when we're going to be playing, or when they play. It's not my event. That is when the index card RPG community kind of self-organizes into a online convention for playing the index card RPG. I've got to reach out to them. We're going to talk about that on the show. There was a live stream about that the other day that was posted in the Discord server. I've got to watch that. I haven't done that yet. But I'm hoping that our online coffee shop, I'm going to reach out to some people about the Rune Jammer, and I'm going to see if we can use our online coffee shop that we built out to as a hangout during the Rune Jammer event. So I'm going to see about that. I want to talk to BGD about that, and maybe get connected with some of the people who are organizing. I am sorry I'm so under the weather at the moment, but uncharacteristic. But at the moment, that's what's happening. All right. Let me bring our rule book up. Thank you, Galaxy. Maybe I just need, maybe I just need to drink water and chill. Okay, so we were here. We worked with the cults. See, we had been really working very hard on the back end of this game for the past several streams, the several cultist streams, and we are close to done with it. Character creation we have been through. So character creation is where it starts. And so narrative roles, that was a big thing. We're talking about all the different roles. And I did go through and I put in all of the different cults under the narrative roles, because this is kind of like your character sheet. So cult and power. So I've got here where you can choose one of the cults that we said were going to be included in the base game: Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Nyarlathotep, Shub, and Yog-Sothoth. And then I put the names of the powers right underneath that, so that you check which power that you want. I wasn't able to put the entire description of the power, but that's all right. That's still in the book. So not everything can be on the character sheet. Just meant as a reminder, and then you check off the one that you're going to use when it comes up and is narratively appropriate. So that got done. So that means that as far as our beta here goes, all of that is written. Then we go down to which cult you're in. Does it have a section on Yog-Sothoth? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So that's right down here. So here are our cults, and we worked with all of their powers, and we got all of that taken care of the other day. So we've got the cult of Azathoth, the cult of Cthulhu, the cult of Dagon, the cult of Nyarlathotep, the cult of Shub, cult of Yog-Sothoth right here. And then I did drop, can you play a non-cultist? So I said, can I play a cultist of the Yellow King? So I did write out that section. I don't know if that was completely 100% finished the last time we streamed, but I finished that section. And then there was going to be a section on, can I be a non-cultist? And as I was writing that, I realized that I should probably just completely drop that and not even bring it up. And that was because although some narrative roles in here could be adapted for being a non-cultist, really, as we wrote these narrative roles, which are so much a part of character creation, they're very cult-centric. So the caretaker, the caretaker is one that could probably be a non-cultist, but the conflicted cultist-based, especially when looking at like the trouble checks and what their sway skills are, like prioritize self-care, address a personal challenge, assert yourself in interpersonal conflict, confront or discipline someone, skill checks, mentoring someone in a new skill, complimenting someone, that could be a non-cultist, but that was actually rare with our write-ups here. It's like the conflicted here specifically talks about place the cult above your own needs. Prioritize the cult over your mundane interests and friends. Shocking your fellow cultists by being competent in the mundane world. So all of our narrative roles are very cultist focused. And so overall, the elder goth, the fanatic, the lackey, the larper, the metachronism, the novitiate. So I decided that because the narrative roles were so cult focused, I shouldn't even bring up being a non-cultist, because I started to say some of these can be reinterpreted in non-cultist ways, but really only a few of them can. Hey. Right. Yeah. See, it sounded counterintuitive to me too. And the only reason that it was there is because you're like, okay, we've got other characters in the show. Because we have playing a cultist RPG and want to be a non-cultist. Why? The only reason that it was there is because of characters like Mom, Dad, and Bella. Okay, so can you play Mom? But there are other reasons that, like, she's one of the villains, the antagonist of the story. Bella, and we talked about having a reformed cultist in the stretch goals, which would cover Dad. So it really became unnecessary, I think. Galaxy says, can't wait to playtest this too. Looks like a lot of fun. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that in the coffee shop. When we start the promotion. I was pressing hard. I want to do about 3 weeks of promotion, and then this will be on Kickstarter with all of the other items, including the shirts, for about 3 weeks. So it'd be 6 weeks in total, 3 weeks of promotion, then 3 weeks of Kickstarter. We'll be in the coffee shop during that time. I was pressing hard to start that on on Wednesday, starting the starting the marketing of all of this and trying to get it out there, starting that on Wednesday. I don't think I'm quite going to make that because I need to work with Brianna again. Brianna and I are going to be working. Brianna does so much of the graphic design and things like that. So Brianna and I are going to be working for an extended time on Wednesday. We haven't been able to work together in a couple of weeks. So we're going to do an extended work day on Wednesday. So after that, I might be ready. I need another day of working with Brianna on all the graphics because that wasn't quite finished yet. So I don't think I'm going to be quite ready to go, hey, all right, let's get this out there and start promoting it on Wednesday, because I think I'm going to need another Brianna work day. But that means that maybe the next week, I could start doing some things informally after that. But I always like to push a little bit. But Wednesday seems a little bit ambitious, given that I haven't been able to work with Brianna yet. The minds of tabletop RPG players and playtesters combined. I guess that idea isn't so odd. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I ended up. I think that seems to be the end of the call. The end call too. They're there, but they're not really being the player characters, right? That was my call as well. Hey, let's breathe and sip. Hey, I need some mental health here. I need some physical health and mental health. Let's breathe and sip. I got my Cultist coffee mug this morning. Cultist coffee. Everybody, hope you've got your favorite beverage with you. Let's breathe and sip. Let's take 2 deep breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. We'll do it twice, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. So here we go. And sip. There we go. All right. I wonder. Hold on. Let me see if I get some medicine over here. Well, the box is empty. Oh, no, look, they fell out. I'll take a Dayquil. Might not help quite for the stream, but maybe I should do it. Okay. Maybe that'll work as magic. Okay, so we got the narrative roles. We've got the cults. Those are ready. So we did say, I saw the Yellow King come up. So yeah, so we did put in, I did write the section on can I play a cultist of the Yellow King. We said that probably that should not be included in the core book, but that we can do as a stretch goal or something, some interpretation of the Yellow King. Then the next up thing is the pre-generated characters, which we're going to work on today. And then the next thing in the book are the beat sheets, which I was working a lot on, trying to massage and get right. Excuse me. And I can talk about that for just a moment. But I've changed things up a little bit again, and I think this is working better. Now what I've got here is the crisis, the opening, and the scenes in each beat sheet. And then I'm going to go to a completely independent curveball table. So, we talked about, what do you need to be rolling on? So, like the forbidden. Okay, one of the cultists is involved in a forbidden activity that jeopardizes the group. The crisis, the cultist is, I've still got to finish this. The cultist is in a relationship with a member of a rival cult, secretly working on a forbidden spell, collaborating with an enemy of the cult, using cult resources for personal gain, secretly communicating with a non-cult member about their activities. Is reading, I guess this, in order to keep parallelism, reading a stolen forbidden book from the library. So that tells you what the crisis is. And then we've got an opening here, which is the opening scene, because it seemed like as we were struggling with this, because a lot of the crisis was written as if it were already an opening scene. And I didn't like that. That didn't work. So this is the opening scene right here. And then this is for all the follow-up scenes. So this tells you what is going on in this case. What is exactly the crisis that's so forbidden that they're involved in? How do you find out about that? Or what's the opening scene that kicks off the hilarity here? And then where are the scenes that go from there? I think that's working rather well. I guess that was last Wednesday that I got pretty far in that. So that's been the new structure, but I've got to work on that. So I'm going to be going through that off of stream again today. But that went pretty well. And then the curveballs need to be something that can apply to any of those beat sheets. And so I dumped up all the curveballs in here to go back through them and make a larger table of things that could apply to everything that would mix up a story. After that, the table of headaches, which I had started writing and is basically done. I keep noticing there's one number 66 still not done down here, but that's pretty much done. And then development notes. So that's where we are. So very close. All right, let's see if I can do any of this in the current state. All right. So what we've got here is like, how do we make a character? Which characters do we want to make? Okay, well, actually, so Bella being a non-cultist, now she comes in a little bit, but really I think we can drop Bella. I mean, how many of these do we need? So Bella being a non-cultist gets dropped. Carrie, Dad is reformed cultist, but we were thinking about having reformed cultist or something like that as a stretch goal. So that means Dad gets dropped. Dave, Evander, Mike, Rob, Shay, Sherry, Steve. Okay, does that cover everybody? So Mom is not on here. So our core group, make sure we didn't miss anybody. We got Mike and Rob. Mike and Rob, and then they bring in Dave and then Ben. Okay, then they go and meet Acantha and Shay. So Acantha's up there and Shay. And then after that, they meet Sherry and Carrie. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 because we also included Evander here. Evander was an example of the dandy. Now, so how many different narrative roles do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 13 narrative roles, which is nice. Do we have to cover them all? Maybe arguably we don't. We could drop, like, no, if these are supposed to be characters from the Cultists, then Evander no longer fits. I talked about Evander before. Evander was a character who was in an early version of the season 1 script because he was a warlock of Azathoth. There were 3 people who came from Azathoth's cult: Shay, Acantha, and Evander. And so Evander was the warlock of Azathoth. But as with many edits of shows and things like that, that got pared down, so Evander was no longer in there and just ended up with the 2 witches. So actually, what we could do is so I thought, hey, it might be cool to bring him back, but this book is getting long anyway. So what if we just put down here as something possibly to do later as a stretch goal, say Evander. The dandy. Okay, so what's what's the Elder Goth? This is actually a term that James Bacon Gaming came up with, like granny plus goth. I can't imagine that. So here's what you said about the Elder Goth. This was the name that James Bacon came up with. So the Elder Goth, you have successfully detached yourself from the modern world and fully embraced the cult life. You are what every neophyte cultist wants to be. You have converted your home into a lair, or at least have a hangout the other cultists think is really hardcore. Somehow, some way, you manage to live a life that is mostly detached from the concerns of the mundane world. No. That's what the Elder Goth is. Which, as far as actually goth aesthetic, I think that if there were like a season 3, we need to lean into that even further with Shay. But that's what that means from this show right here. Yeah, I got right. That's where it came from. Repurposed. Yeah. And I like the name of that narrative role. So let's just do the classics. Okay. See, Acantha, the metachronism. And then possibly we could do later an alternate Acantha where she's the caretaker. But it seems like most of the time when you think about her, I guess at least in season 1, they think about somebody who is out of place in time. Okay, so we got that one. Ben, which means we won't do all the narrative roles. Ben, early in season, or in season 1 especially, we are talking about the novitiate. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. Welcome. Okay, Ben is the novitiate. Carrie is the lackey. Dave is clearly the conflicted. Okay, now we have Mike here as the fanatic, and we have Steve also here as the fanatic. So we need to think about that. I don't want to double these up. Okay, so Mike is the fanatic. Steve, the fanatic. Rob, the critic. Now, see, this could also be, Rob is one that you could also apply a couple of different ones to, because you could certainly, I think, say that Rob is a fanatic at sometimes, and you could also say that Rob is the grouch. I mean, if for some reason we needed him, I'm just going to put down here as another note in our stretch goals, alternate Rob. Rob is the grouch would be funny. He was so grouchy, especially before Ben shows up. Rob, okay, we're having him as the critic right now, which I think makes sense and is most classic. Shay is the maverick. Okay, Sherry becomes the Elder Goth. And then Steve, we've got the fanatic. So we need to come up with what Mike is. So let's read the fanatic and decide whether that is Steve or Mike. Well, actually, we got Steve here. And Steve is season 2. Steve doesn't appear, well, he appears briefly in season 1, but he's not a cultist yet. He hasn't joined the cult yet in season 1. So one solution to doubling up on the fanatic, if it fits for both of them, is to just remove Steve, since he's a season 2 character. Okay, let's read the fanatic and see which one this seems to go with. The fanatic, because I don't really think this describes Mike, but we'll see. You're a true believer, completely dedicated to the elder gods and obsessed with bringing them back to the earth. Your true calling is to be their prophet and herald their coming. You probably also have a special role to play in facilitating their return, up to and including self-sacrifice. No task or quest is too great when undertaken in service of the elder gods. All right. Later. See you at 7 on the Table Talk YouTube channel. No task or quest is too great when undertaken in service of the elder gods. So the troubles would be to focus on a mundane task, resist going on an occult quest, have a serious non-occult conversation, doubt your abilities or beliefs. Well, I mean, that could go with Mike. Sway skills, inspire other cultists with a dramatic speech of the elder gods, come through at the right moment for the cultist, effortlessly and correctly perform ritual actions, resist attempts to cause you to doubt the elder gods, use elder god apologetics to explain away why some of the cultists undertook actions that did not work, why some actions the cultists undertook did not work. Actually, that could work for Mike. As we were shooting, Mallory Ivy, who plays Acantha, said that, well, Mike is like our Gryffindor. So he does inspire them. He does come through for the cultists. He's the one leading rituals. He doesn't really ever doubt the elder gods. He waffles from god to god in the first episode, but that could be. And he is the one who explains, like, why didn't Cthulhu appear? That was in episode 7. Why didn't Cthulhu appear? Wait a minute. It's not because there's something wrong with what we did. It's that we got to do some other things first. So he does do exactly that. So I guess I was thinking, when I was thinking about the fanatic as I was writing this, more of a crazy-haired, like insane person who's more fanatic. But actually, when I look at the interpretation of this with the skills, yeah, like he has trouble focusing on mundane tasks. Yeah, like doing his algebra homework. It would be difficult for Mike to resist going on an occult quest, I think. If he were presented with the opportunity that something's going on with some kind of occult quest to call, I think Mike would definitely go. Mike clearly struggles with having non-occult conversations, and he doesn't doubt himself. So, yeah, okay. So that sounds pretty good. So let's keep Mike as the fanatic. We might remove Steve. Okay, so which ones are not being used? The caretaker is not being used, but that seems to be pretty good for an alternate Acantha. Okay, the conflicted, that's Dave. The critic, that's Rob. The dandy, that one's not being used, but that would be Evander if Evander is put back in later. The elder goth, that's Sherry. Okay, the fanatic, that's Mike. The grouch, that would be alternate Rob. The lackey, that's being used for Carrie. Okay, we don't have a LARPer. So that one doesn't have a place. But I think that's fine. We don't have to do them all as pre-generated characters. So, okay, the LARPer is one that's not being used. The Maverick, that's Shay. The Metachronism, that one is primary Acantha. The Novitiate, that is, that's Ben. And then the Provocateur, that's Shay. Did I already say Shay? Did I already say Shay? The metachronism, that's Acantha. I might have accidentally said Shay. But that's Acantha, and then the provocateur, that's Shay. Okay. I think that's pretty good. So that works. I think that works. So I'm going to put down here, I'm going to put Steve. And it's not like you can't change these things up. Like if we decided that Steve also needed to be a fanatic, which he kind of seems that way, you know, there are the blanks that you can write and create your own stuff. So creating something custom for Steve could absolutely work. Okay, so let's draw Steve. This is going to be a long core book anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 characters. So yeah, so there are 4 core groups of the 4 core group of guys plus 2 of the girl cultists in 2 cults. So 4 of them. So 8. Okay, so that's right. And we've got all different interpretations for them. Okay, so what do you do here? So creating a character. Every player will need a character to play. Players are free to choose any of the pre-generated characters. Oh, Bacon just said something. Sometimes you need your own custom Steve, not unlike normal man or regular Jeff. Custom Steve. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? Every player will need a character to play. Players are free to choose any of the pre-generated characters in the back of this book, which include many of the characters in the Cultist web series. However, players may also create their own character to play using the following steps. Oh, hey, RPG Exile. Good to see you. We're making characters here. You came in at a great time. Select a narrative role. In the Cultist RPG, the most important thing about a character is the narrative role they play in the group or in the story. Generally, a group should only include one character of a particular narrative role. This gives each player a definable niche to fill when creating the story. Narrative roles in the RPG include, we just went over all of those. So, does it actually say select one? You know, it never, well, it does say select a narrative role, but it never actually has a sentence on that. I'll say each player should select one narrative role for the characters, for their character. Narrative roles in the Cultist RPG. Each player selects one narrative role for their character. Character roles include all of those. Okay, so we just did that. Then you select your cult. Come to think of it, I'm glad I'm looking at this because here it says select your cult next, review your cult special powers, and then you come back to select your troubles and your sway skills. I mean, I think that actually makes sense. I mean, you know, because arguably, what do you think? Arguably, okay, we're working on narrative roles right now, so I just picked the narrative roles. It kind of makes sense for me to do troubles and sway next. But on the other hand, I think it actually does make sense to do your cult next because you're thinking, okay, I'm a grouch. That's the big thing about me. What's the other big thing about me? That I'm of the cult of Azathoth. And then once I get the character idea in my head, then I can fill in, okay, what power might I like to eventually take, but review the powers because I don't have to choose those. And then choose sway skills and troubles that sort of reinforce that. I maybe that's a good way to go. I'm not sure. Hey, I know. Definitely check out James' channel. I'm the same way. I watched, I think I did actually watch the hit point one and responded because yeah, when you're watching James videos, they're definitely they definitely provoke comments and conversation. Yeah, Mike says, what do you think would be clearer for people reading for the first time? Maybe what I should do is just put a sentence in here that explains why. you will select your trouble and sway skill. I think that's plural. You've got troubles and sway skills based on or from the lists provided on the narrative roles. Got some crazy formatting here. Provided by your chosen narrative role. You can do so now. C4 and 5. Or you can choose your cult first to get a more well-rounded understanding of your character before you choose skills about what your character is going to be. Oh, you're going to start going live too, James? I plan on live streaming once I hammer out some sort of regularity. Live streaming might include all kinds of audience call-ins, but I need to do more setup and safeguarding for that kind of thing. Oh, that's cool. I will join in. Okay. You will select your troubles and sway skills from the list provided by your chosen narrative role. You can do so now, see below, or you can choose your cult first to get a more well-rounded understanding of your character before you choose them. Before you choose. Okay, so cults. All right, we should be able to put these in pretty easy here. Okay, so Acantha is Cult of Azathoth. So this is like narrative role. I'm going to having to structure this. Narrative role. Oh, Great Old One says, I'm planning on writing content, but I have no videos recorded yet. Don't have plans to do live stream. Going to stay away from the clickbait. Okay, well, maybe we should go ahead and subscribe to Great Old One's channel so that when videos appear, we will know. Ben is Esoteric Order of Dagon. Carrie is Cult of Shub. Dave. Well, now, what do we do? What do we do with Dave here? The quote is he's down with Dagon, but he's also into some casual worship of Cthulhu. What is our Cthulhu? Like, could we make him? We could say casual cultist of Cthulhu. And maybe this would be a good opportunity to use some, because that's how he does it. You know, he says, I'm down with Dagon, but but I also do a bit of casual Cthulhu worship. So the Cthulhu powers say prophetic dreams, mad visions. Could this potentially work for him? You receive dreams. See, another consideration here is that you already have 2 that are in the cult of Dagon. That would be, from the gameplay perspective, we've got Rob and Ben. So it's probably a better idea to move him to something else. So we should probably emphasize his casual cultist of Cthulhu in the beginning here. An alternate Dave build could make him from the esoteric order, especially later. In season 2, he says that, Rob's trying to bring him in. Prophetic dreams. And we do say that we hint that Dave talks with the dead. So that could be mad visions. How would you explain Dave saying that he talks with the dead? Well, it could be mad visions. It could be also prophetic dreams. I think that could work for Dave. Yeah, Cthulhu, and Mike says Cthulhu to diversify the gods. Yeah. Because otherwise we wouldn't have one. Oh, well, now we wouldn't have Nyarlathotep here. We went ahead and put in Nyarlathotep because Steve is there. Does that mean we should remove Nyarlathotep from the core rules? Because nobody in season 1, I mean, we've done a little bit of season 1 and season 2, but in season 1, nobody is from the cult of Nyarlathotep. So we could drop, especially depends on how this, how long this is. Brianna's going to do the layout ultimately, but that means we could drop the cult of Nyarlathotep. Maybe we should. Then we would have examples from all of the different gods: Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Shub, and Yog-Sothoth. Okay, so casual cultist of Cthulhu, and we could probably use some type of write-in power for him. Mike, the fanatic, this is Cult of Yog-Sothoth. Rob, Esoteric Order of Dagon. Honestly, if this should be future proofed, wait, I think this. Oh, honestly, I think this should be future proofed and consider including aspects of season 3. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Season 3 is season 3 if it got written. And actually, I was. You hear about these scripts that are like, okay, that got written in 6 days or something like that. And I was thinking, because we've got a lot of material. I mean, we've got a whole draft. It's not right. We've got a whole draft. If it were a standalone feature-length film, it would need to cover some material from season 1 and season 2. So my point is that's already there. I mean, this is an idea that's been thought of. I think it would be really fun if I were to say, all right, you know what I'm going to do? All I'm going to do for a week, that's a problem going to the winery. It's a problem. But I could say, like, all I'm doing for a week is I just want to see if I can get a draft of this film done. And see if I, see if I get some type of, could draft that. I mean, who knows? It would be a big deal to actually shoot it, but to get the script done, be like, all right, if it went on for one more time to one more go round to finish the story, we got some great material there, but who knows how it will actually pan out. But that'd be like, all right, I'm going to be obsessive here for a week and see what could get done. Mike says I'd leave Nyarlathotep in, and it's well written. Okay. Maybe we leave that in. Am I planning on creating supplements on this? I would say no. If so, you don't need to include everything. If not, then consider it. It still might be a good fit, but at least to give some thought. Yeah. The next thing the next thing for the cultists, I mean, this is thinking into the future quite a bit, but would be return to that the party game. But so my point is, I don't really know how what would be added in season 3. Now, and actually, in other respects, not a whole lot was added in season 3. Oh, well, you did see a little bit of stuff, because I don't know if that would end up in season 3 either way, but we had one of the pre-generated characters was going to be Bloop. We had Bloop someplace. Maybe he just got deleted. I could put him back down here as a possible stretch goal. Bloop. Bloop. How do you spell Austinable? No, whatever. Austinable deep one. That was something that was coming in, but we intentionally also did not, when we were writing season 3, we also deliberately didn't try to include a whole bunch more stuff. We were trying to wrap up the story with what we've got. Now, we did include this Bloop, who is supposedly a deep one. I don't know how that'll go. I kind of like that character, but we just have to see. But we were deliberately not trying to add in a whole bunch more stuff. Take existing stuff from season 1 and season 2 and then wrap up the story. Hang on, just one second. I need a break, guys. Just 1 second. Let's go to Yeti Hug Break.
Oh, it's time for a Yeti Hug Break. Yeti Hug Break, Yeti Hug Break. Everybody go hug yo Yeti and show yo Yeti some love.
But my main break won't work. I don't know. Okay. Sorry about that. I felt a coughing fit coming on. I was like, I don't really need to do that on camera. All right. If you don't have a Yeti, then a dog is a good idea. Yes. All right. Where are we? Okay. So, Cult of Yogg-Sothoth, Shay. Cult of Azathoth. Sherry. Cult of Shub. Okay. Now, reading through character generation, which is nice. Select your cult. Perhaps the most interesting thing about playing the Cultist RPG is being a member of one of the many Lovecraftian cults. Players are free to combine their narrative role with the membership in whatever cult they choose. Players might all choose to be from part of the same cult or might choose to be from a variety of different cults like in the Cultist web series. So 3, review your character's possible special abilities. Each cult has a variety of special abilities that allow some of their uniqueness to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative. Players should review what abilities being a member of their cult could grant them. Players should not define a special ability for their characters at the start of the game, but wait to choose what special ability their character has until the opportunity to use one comes up in play. Once chosen, that special power may not be changed for the remainder of the game, but it may be used in multiple scenes, whenever narratively appropriate. If players are playing the same character in a campaign, see playing a campaign, clear the character's special ability selection at the start of each game. Okay, so like Azathoth, we need for these pre-generated characters is we will not have one chosen because they get to choose that as they go. Cthulhu, we need the short version. Dave. Let's see. This is for the Dagon is for Rob and Ben. Where's Ben? There we go. Nyarlathotep, we are skipping. Shub. Oh, we only have one cultist of Yogg-Sothoth. Yeah, that works. That works well because the 3 core guys shouldn't be all need to be Yogg-Sothoth, Cthulhu, and then it works for the esoteric order for the other 2 because we've got the master and the apprentice, right? Okay, so Shub, that works. I think that works well. Carrie and Sherry. And then one of Yogg-Sothoth. I'm going to put together like 2 or 3 sentences on each one. Each character, I'll write those off screen. So this goes to Mike. There we go. Let's see. So next, what does our character generation say? Review abilities. Okay, select 3 troubles. Each narrative role has a variety of possible troubles. Troubles have 2 major functions in the game. First, the troubles explicitly define when the trouble checks must be made to act counter to the default state of the cultist's life or personality. For instance, the caretaker has the trouble roll a trouble check to assert yourself in an interpersonal conflict. When narratively appropriate, the character may make a trouble check to try to overcome the trouble. Second, the troubles indicate a default state of the character's life that makes things difficult for them. In this example, the caretaker is usually passive and does not stand up for himself. Characters who pass a trouble check during the game may have a better outcome for their character at the story's conclusion. Players should choose 3 of these at the start of the game and indicate them on their character sheet. Players are also free to come up with their own trouble and write it on the blank line. Okay, so each one of these characters will have troubles. probably need to break these into individual sheets. I will do that. Okay, so the metachronism, the troubles. Let's take a look at this. Troubles. Roll a trouble check 2. In fact, we'll troubles DC 6. This is probably the way it should go. Roll a trouble check 2. I'll just copy these over to Acantha, and we'll see which ones we think are most appropriate, and if we think we need to write a new one. So we only have 3, so we're just going to delete the ones that don't. Effectively use modern tech and conveniences. That seems to work for Acantha very well. Conform to social norms. Maybe that one should go because she does seem rather socially, she does have social aptitude. You know, actually, come to think of it, in some ways, Shay and Acantha alternate builds could be based off the Elder Goth. Because Shay and Acantha seem to be able to live lives that are outside of the mundane. Let's delete that one. Relate to people through pop culture. Acantha can't do that, so that makes sense for a trouble. Hold down a job. She might not need a job. I think we ought to come up with a custom trouble for Acantha. If you have ideas, we can put them down. We don't have to come up with everything at the second. But it seems like should review Acantha and come up with a custom trouble. What about sway skills? Oh, and I suppose I should also put their asides and courage, because these will be like character sheets. They will be character sheets that you can print out. So it needs their stuff. So actually, what I'll do is I'm going to say split at selection with selection at title. Let's put Acantha on her own. It'll be fun to be able to have illustrations of each one of the characters, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Sway skills. Oh, we don't need to say choose 3 because these are pre-chosen. Attempt to gain sway by demonstrating knowledge of forbidden eldritch secrets. Yes, she absolutely does that with the Encyclopedia Magica. Pointing out your past successes to others. Pointing out your past successes to others. That one could be pretending to be more important than you are. That one doesn't sound like Acantha. Hey, Tomocrat. Good to see you. Impressing someone using antiquated skills or language. Yes, that could be the case too. Pointing out your past successes to others. I'm not sure if that sounds like Acantha or not. She's not arrogant. So maybe we should kind of come up with a blank custom one for her as well. And then the asides, and then her courage and sway. And I have to come up with a maybe it makes sense actually to start off with the cult and then say narrative role, because then the narrative role, that's about the troubles and the sways right there. That might make sense. I'll try to organize it better, but that probably makes sense because the cult is just up there at the top with the powers. Let's go ahead and split these. So Carrie, Dave, Mike, Rob, Shay. These are in alphabetical order already, it looks like. And then Sherry. Ben. How do I write Dagon? Oh, I do say the cult of Dagon. To be with the way the story is, especially the cultists, and to make sure it's consistent. Because Rob specifically corrects Mike. It's not the cult of Dagon, it's the esoteric order. Okay, so Ben. He's going to have the narrative role of the novitiate. So, what are his troubles and sway skills? I'm going to copy all of this down. Troubles. Roll a trouble check to gain advantage by understanding underlying group dynamics. Ben probably does not understand group dynamics. Stand up for yourself or resist exploitation. See character flaws in more advanced cultists. Resist being overawed or easily impressed. Well, all of those could actually go for Ben. I would say that the ones that are most characteristic here are stand up for yourself or resist exploitation, because he doesn't really do that. See character flaws in more advanced cultists. Resist being overawed or easily impressed. He's very much overawed and easily impressed. The group dynamics doesn't really come up all that much, but I would say we got 3 pretty good ones for Ben right here. Stand up for yourself or resist exploitation. Yeah, okay, so sway skills. Attempt to gain sway to learn new rituals or tasks or uncovering new information, discovering a problem others overlook, comforting a distressed cultist by telling them how amazing they are, solving a problem or completing a task. Okay, I need to go and change that on the novitiate, or completing a task. Hey, PH. Glad you're still here. Hope you're having fun. How does he gain sway? Learning new rituals or tasks or uncovering new information. He does do that in season 2, so we can go with that. Discovering a problem others overlook. Comforting a distressed cultist by telling them how amazing they are. He doesn't really do that. It's other people comforting him most of the time. Solving a problem or completing a task other cultists have already failed through a fresh perspective. I can totally see that being Ben, though. You think the 3 work for learning new rituals or tasks? I would say that's definitely a good one. Comforting a distressed cultist by so I'm going to say we have a possibility. But, I would say that he ends up having sway, even though at the end of season 1, when he tries to sacrifice himself, he fails at sacrificing himself, but he's clearly up with the cultists. Oh, this is a good point. So he's clearly up. I would say that he did gain sway with the cultists at the end. That's this. In fact, maybe that's kind of an example of trying to take sway at the end of the show, the end of the arc. So we said that's one of the things you can do. You can challenge them. And he does this by the sacrifice of himself. He doesn't actually sacrifice himself because it's a rubber knife. But he's certainly up with the cultists because Mike is very impressed by this. Dave is very impressed by this. I mean, they tell him that even though it was a fake knife, when you tried to sacrifice yourself, man, that was real. And he impresses Rob too, because Rob's like, you're someone that a cult leader would be proud to have as a cult. You're a fantastic cultist. So arguably he is up when he does that, even though he failed at sacrificing himself. I would say he definitely gained sway with the cultists at the end there. I would say. Yeah, gaining sway by being willing to sacrifice yourself in the ritual and being that hardcore about it. Okay, later, old ones. That sounds like a lot of fun. Go hang out with your grandson. Go fishing. I used to go fishing with my grandparents. While you're out by the water, be sure to perform a ritual to Father Dagon. So what? See, custom. Comforting a distressed cultist by telling them how amazing they are. Solving a problem or completing a task other cultists have already failed through a fresh perspective. Well, arguably, that's kind of what happened with the sacrifice at the end, right? Okay, he did solve the problem. Or he didn't solve the problem. He didn't solve the problem of getting Cthulhu to appear, but he resolved the group's dynamics, the problems that the cult was having at that moment, by sacrificing himself. So maybe I could maybe that one gets rewritten to be that. I do like comforting a distressed cultist by telling them how amazing they are, because I could totally see Ben doing that. That just didn't come up narratively in the story. Let's keep going with some generals while this all turns over in our heads. We may come up with some different realizations to put in these custom ones. As we go through some of them. Okay, so Carrie. Now, we don't know very much about Carrie, but Carrie is taking on the role of the lackey. Narrative role. Okay, so we're going to put Cult of Shub up there at the beginning. She's playing the narrative role of the lackey. So we've got troubles. Go against the group and say no. Stand up for yourself. Choose sides or be... climb the social hierarchy. That would seem difficult for her. I like go against the group and say no. Is there something else? See, we know so little little about Carrie. There's a lot that's open to interpretations. There's a lot of stuff that we can add in here and do however we want to do it. The stranger, yeah. So here's a possibility to use the blank to make her stand out and to flesh out her character more. Sway skills. How would she gain sway? By seeing a menial and monotonous task through to completion. I can go with that. Going unnoticed because others see you as inconsequential. That doesn't sound like her because she's so threatening. Impressing someone with your attention to detail and focus. That one could be here. I'm not seeing being prepared so as to meet the needs of others. So I think that one needs to go. And we need to have a blank here. Let's see how Dave goes. Dave is the casual cultist of Cthulhu. And he is the conflicted. This one should be easy because it's almost like this one was made for Dave. All right, let's see. Dave. Roll a trouble check to resist the temptations of the mundane world. Place the cult over your own needs. Prioritize the cult over your mundane interests or friends. Effectively communicate with cultists who do not share your mundane interests. He can effectively communicate with cultists, so that one's not Dave. Resist the temptations of the mundane world. Place the cult above your own needs. Above your mundane interest. No, we have that. Of your own needs. Prioritize the cult over your mundane interests or friends. Resist the temptations of the mundane world. That would definitely be a season 3 thing. I don't think it's basically his own needs. We're prioritizing over the mundane interests or friends and the temptations of the mundane world. So we would need a custom one for Dave. But I do like this, that potentially what we've got is 2. For a lot of these, we've got 2 of these that work very well. And then we get to put in the blank. Mike says, it would seem for new players, the blanks option would only be used if they have some pre-existing understanding of their characters or if something comes up in play that informs this blank. Yeah. If they have some type of idea of a cultist they really want to play. I mean, I think that's really why it's there. Or if you're suddenly inspired by, I know exactly how this should go. Okay, so we're adding a cultural explanation here. This is still true, but especially until the 90s, every American movie would have the title and a subtitle. For instance, the movie Carrie is called Carrie the Strange. Oh, okay. How does Dave gain sway? Handling a mundane situation more dedicated cultists don't understand. Could be drawing upon your network of contacts in the mundane world. Could be, and especially if I'm thinking about some things in season 3, potentially, employing your mundane skill to impress others. Yes, especially season 3. In season 2, he does actually play the guitar. Shocking your fellow cultists by being competent in the mundane world. That one doesn't sound like Dave, because probably even in the band, he's not shockingly competent. It might be competent enough to shock the cultists, but probably if you needed somebody to do something in the mundane world, it would probably be Dave. Hey, Dave, we need you to go and do X. He's the one who's out there the most, even though we have the added complication that Dave is always on drugs. So that's an extra part of his character. Okay, Mike. This is fun. He's playing the fanatic, and we already kind of looked at this. Okay, troubles. Roll a trouble check to focus on a mundane task. Resist going on an occult quest. He's the leader. I like that one. Have a serious non-occult conversation. He does do that in season 2 a bit when he's talking to his dad about the problems he's having with Rob. So we were exploring deeper emotions in that season. So when it comes to that, he does do that. So that leaves doubt your abilities, your beliefs, which I think works. Focus on a mundane task. That's a problem for Mike. Resist going on a cult quest. No, he accepts the call to adventure. Doubt your abilities or beliefs. That works. I think it works really well. Gain sway by inspiring other cultists with the dramatic speech of the elder gods, coming through at the right moment for the cultists, effortlessly and correctly performing ritual actions. Well, maybe he doesn't do that because they're still kind of hokey when he does that. Resists attempts to cause you to doubt the elder gods. Wait, how many of those did we actually have? Did we have an extra one? And did I have too many of those? Like, how many potential sway skills? 1, 2, 3, 4 and a blank. The fanatic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I did. I had an extra one. So for the fanatic, I had inspiring others, the dramatic speech of the elder gods, coming through at the right moment of the cult, effortlessly. Why don't we say effortlessly leading ritual actions? That gets away the connotation that it has to be correct. Okay, actually, I think these last two double up. Resisting attempts to cause you to doubt the elder gods. That's very close to using elder god apologetics to explain why. Explain away something that would. Let's combine those by saying that use elder god apologetics to explain away. Something that might otherwise cause doubt in your faith. There, that gets us back to the correct number and combines two that probably double up. Okay, so wait a minute. So how does Mike do that to gain sway? Attempt to gain sway by inspiring other cultists with the dramatic speech of the elder gods, using elder god. I think that one applies. Elder god apologetics applies. Leading ritual actions, coming through at the right moment for the cultists. What do you think? I'm kind of tempted to leave effortlessly leading ritual actions and striking coming through at the right moment for the cultists. Mike says Dave seems to have 1 foot in the mundane and 1 foot in the cult world. Right. It forms the basis for his trouble of band versus cult activity. Yes, exactly. Let's see. Leading ritual actions. He leads the. Rob is the one who leads the summoning of Cthulhu, but Mike does do the branding, which is very significant, and that plays a role in season 2 again. They need him to do that, and also in the orgy. So yeah, okay. He's the leader. That might mean coming through. He comes through by leading ritual actions. All right, so there we go. I think that's pretty good. That's all right. That's nice for Mike, I think. Okay, let's go down to Rob. The Esoteric Order of Dagon becomes his cult. And he is, this version, he's playing the role of the critic. This one also seems very well built for Rob. Troubles. Rectify an issue of your making, display compassion and support, accept criticism gracefully, or acknowledge vulnerability. Rob does not accept criticism well. That's a line in the show. Acknowledge vulnerability. Especially in season 1, he does not do this. And so this is based on that. Rectify an issue of your making. I don't really see that in the show. Although you can see he's causing problems for people that other people have to fix. Mike says, are you going to reorganize the generic character sheets with the cult first and then the role part afterwards? Should I do that? Oh, okay. So on the generic character sheet, okay, that's different because you take the sheet. The sheet at the top says your narrative role. So if you're playing the conflicted, you take the conflicted sheet and then put your name down and then select your cult. So that's the way this is on the generic character sheet. And that does kind of follow from low stakes. Because that's the way that low stakes organize this, which is what we've grown this out of. Put your character name. So that's the way that's organized at the moment. Yeah, the pre-gens are different because I'm putting their name at the top. So probably not. They just might be a little bit different. The pre-gens might be different from how we organize the generic ones. So we get Rob? Oh, no, we were working on Rob. A lot of times I can think of it's difficult for Rob to display compassion, especially when playing the role of the critic. Choose 3. Attempt to gain sway by persuading someone through harsh criticism, highlighting someone's imperfections with precision, deceiving someone into achieving your goals, influencing someone to concede their position. Okay, he's not terribly deceptive, so I don't think deceptive goes with that. Persuading someone through harsh criticism. Highlighting someone's imperfections with precision, influencing someone to concede their position. I think we should actually say arguing. I mean, how are you? Let's use that. This is the critic. Because influencing, that's too generic. This would be an argument. Good morning, regular Jeff. Good to see you. Okay. Oh, so Rob, that would get, yeah, so that would delete the blank, and then there we have 3. All right, Shay. We got 2 more to do. Let's see if we can do these, and then I will probably cut out. At least to this stage. Okay, so Shay. The Maverick. Troubles. Roll a trouble check to cooperate with someone. See the error of your ways. Get someone to trust you or show humility. Okay, I think we got this. She does cooperate with Acantha, but she doesn't really cooperate with other people, especially with Rob. So roll a trouble check to cooperate with someone. See the error of your ways and show humility. I can see that. Attempt to gain sway by showing your way to be the best way, surprising everyone, making someone else feel cool, showing off big time. Might need a custom here. She doesn't really show off. No, well, but she... I could see that coming out in season 3. If she makes somebody... She makes Ben feel cool in season 2. Surprising everyone. I'm going to think about that. No, he did. Regular Jeff did come up in conversation today. Earlier on. That's right. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to have to think about Shay for a bit. Let's look at Sherry. Sherry, all right. She is the elder goth. Let's see about this. What does she do? All right, her trouble. Effectively use technology, blend into the background. Absolutely. She doesn't blend into the background. Appear non-threatening to people in the mundane world. She appears threatening. Acknowledge your weakness or vulnerability. Maybe she can use technology. She doesn't seem like someone who's going to acknowledge weakness or vulnerability. Doesn't have to. I like that. See, those work for her. She doesn't blend into the background. It's very difficult for her to appear non-threatening to people in the mundane world and acknowledge weakness or vulnerability. What are her sway skills? Overall, a cultist with your knowledge of occult or cool gear. Use your lair or hangout to cover for cultists in need. Cheering someone up by telling them how hardcore they are. She doesn't really seem like the type who's going to cheer somebody up. Inspiring another cultist with your hardcore ethos. Now, that sounds more like something that would happen here. Cheering someone up. So let's not have cheering somebody up for her. We never really see the lair, but they are out there in the woods with the goat. Overawing a cultist with your knowledge of the occult or cool gear. I mean, I could definitely. Well, that's what happens to Mike. Is inspiring another cultist with your hardcore ethos too much like overawing them with knowledge of the occult and cool gear? I'm kind of feeling like it is. This is a good exercise for this because it helps concretize these ideas. Like, okay, does this work for this character concept? I'm going to have to think about that. Well, that also got a lot of work done. Let's see. Let's put... All right. Well, all right. That gives me some stuff to think about this afternoon. I got a lot to do, including sitting here and trying to figure out how to get better here. All right. I guess I am out of here. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. And if you are watching on replay, thank you so much for being on replay with me. If you have comments and you're watching on replay or some ideas that we missed or something to put in here, please do put it down in the comments because I do read those. So maybe you might have something to have one of the ideas here. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Everybody, go forth, be creative, be constructive. I do plan on being on the Table Talk channel tonight after House of the Dragon, unless I just am feeling so, maybe I'll feel better this afternoon. But unless I'm just feeling so terrible that I cancel it. I do plan on seeing everybody tonight for House the Dragon reaction on Table Talk tonight. All right, everybody, go forth, be creative, be constructive, and go get stuff done. Later.